Well, we can get started. I'm going to apologize that you will probably be hearing jets this morning. Our building is right near apparently where the jets want to fly, and it's not always soundproof. So if you hear some of that, that is why. You are with Kate and Tanner this morning. You know both of us, but we are really here to talk about email. Email is a huge initiative we do with everyone and all of the properties, and we are excited to kind of talk through the logistics of it and some of the strategy and reasoning behind it. And it's important because year to date, we have sent 287 emails for the Regency properties. So we do this with all of you a lot. We want to make sure that we are really aggregating all the best practices and really sharing all of those insights with you all. As we go through today, we want everyone to kind of think of email a little bit differently. And this kind of quote we really love, but it's long been associated as a medium to reach subscribers and not just a strategy. And as we are continuing to get more evolved technology, as email platforms are able to do more, as we're able to get more subscriber information from you all, we really can align that right subscriber with the right message and make it go a really long way. So emails, we have been sending a lot, and just as kind of a drop in the bucket when we look at the overall global market. So in 2015, there were about 205 billion emails sent, and that is expected to go up to 246 billion by 2019. So email is not a dying platform. It's not a dying channel. It's a way that we can really engage with our customers and try to get additional bookings and really kind of create some brand loyalty. So you might be saying, well, that's great, but what about these millennials and these younger generations? Are they engaging with email? We really wanted to show this out. This is a 18 to 29 age group and a 30 plus age group. So I'll quick go back on kind of where we were just so you guys can see everything. So strategy, I guess we didn't really go over everything. You're seeing the graph. So this works. This is what happens when Maddie is not in one of these seats. So we have a lot of people who are either never really opening their email or always infrequently. We really want to point out is those 18 to 29 are always or frequently opening their email 30% of the time, which is 43% higher than those 30 plus. So this is an engaged demographic, and we really want to capture their loyalty and really show the benefit of engaging with our emails that we're sending. Email is also a huge revenue generator, which you guys know, and which is really one of the reasons why we send so many emails. But kind of across the board, email generates 122% higher ROI than all these other tactics. And it makes sense because email is really that channel where our customers have said, yes, here's my information, please message me, send me something. So we know these are already a little bit more loyal and a little bit more dedicated customers. So we want to make sure we continue to nurture that and also use that as a way to kind of incentivize them to book with us versus someone else. So today, Tanner and I are going to talk about some best practices and really talking through the design and content of an email and why we do what we do, subject lines and different A/B testing best practices, and really when to send. And then we're going to touch on some trends and some things that we're just keeping our eye on as email continues to evolve. As a reminder, please submit any questions. We do have Mason kind of manning the station, and he'll be able to filter those to us. And then whoever answers a question gets put into a drawing again to get a Zoom tablet. So here we go.
Awesome. So the first step of any email is design and content. We want this email to engage users when they open it, and also have clear call to actions to get them to book a room with us or to inquire about an upcoming event. But the first thing with any email templates is that they must be mobile responsive. And what we mean by that is we want our emails to look as great as they do on a mobile device as they do on a desktop, because about 54% of all emails are open from a mobile device. So well over half of our customers are viewing this email on a mobile device. So it's got to look great. Luckily for Regency, we don't have to worry about having an unresponsive email. All the emails we've sent over the last few years have used a responsive email template. So they're going to look good on the mobile device, and they're really going to just have clear call to actions, and they're going to look awesome from a mobile view, and users aren't going to be served that visual on the left there where they have to scroll and pinch to really figure out what the email is about.
And that's really, responsive is kind of a blessing and a curse because it limits some of the templates we can use so that it looks great on our phone. So there's a reason, kind of our method to the madness of picking the templates we do and kind of keeping that consistent look and feel. But really it is so that we're having the best usability as possible.
Absolutely. So here's a great example of a responsive email from Tom's, the shoe company. So on the left here, we have a desktop email. And then on the right, we have this stretched out phone to what it would look like on a mobile device. So as you can see, the content just scales down a little bit. Some of the words aren't stretched out so much like they are horizontally, like they are on desktop. On mobile, it gets more vertical. But overall, you're still getting a great looking email with clear call to actions for users to convert. While we can make this awesome PDF that looks great for flyers, that doesn't really play well with email marketing. We really encourage the use of text and images to tell a story throughout our email marketing for two reasons. One is that large images don't always get delivered and are often marked as spam by different email providers. And images aren't always the best way people receive email. So we have this example here from Timberland, wonderful looking email, but it is a solid image, and that can be problematic for several reasons.
We don't want this to happen.
Yes. So as I'm sure all of you have seen this at one point or another, where someone has their images turned off within their email for different spam reasons and other reasons so that they load quickly. This email from Timberland that looked great does not show up well because their images are turned off. So we really recommend using text and images to tell a story and to really encourage users to book a stay with us. The next thing we talk about is having clear call to action. So about 28%, so using a button instead of a link increases conversions by about 28%. So with all of our emails, we're definitely going to utilize a button versus an in-text link. And it's really going to stand out to users. And really, we have that option to tell users exactly what we want them to do in a visual way through.
That's why we'll always make sure that the check availability or the book now is a button, and it's really going to stand out, but that we can link, check out our rooms, or here's our dining options, here's the pool, so that those are more secondary efforts we'd want to drive people to the site on, but that main action of driving revenue through the email is what we really want to have is that big button.
Absolutely. Another piece to really improve that design of an email and encourage click-through rates is calling out video. So we've seen 55% increases in CTR or click-through rate when we call out video in the subject line. With the current demographic, we're much more ready to watch a video than we are to read through a paragraph of text. So coming up in the future here, we're starting to incorporate more video within emails, and we plan to do that more heavily coming up.
So you guys are not going to stop hearing the drumbeat from ClickGray saying video. We've really tried over the last year or so to work with different properties on getting video for the website, because we know that increases booking, getting video for social because that increases ad engagement. But now it's really taking all that video and then pulling it through into email to then get higher bookings through this channel as well. And it works.
Yes, it really does work. Showcasing a product in a video manner has increased conversions by 103% across several different industries. So it's a great way to visually engage users and get them to that ultimate call to action to book a room.
So this is just an animated GIF, so it's just layering different photos on top of it. And we did something similar, which the GIF is not going, so I'm going to keep it back on here, but something similar this for peak season for a couple properties and just kind of adding some motion and some excitement. But this is something we could easily do if we were sending a meetings email to showcase an animated GIF of different meeting room facilities, or if we wanted to showcase all of the different kind of room types and different photos. There's a lot of different things that we could do. So we'd really encourage, if there's a larger campaign or a larger effort, how can we maybe do an animation to increase that engagement and showcase the different rooms. It does take a little bit more lead time than our normal turnaround. So anything that we can kind of think in advance to add a little pizzazz to an email, we are all for.
And the final thing to remember with the design and content of an email is to say thank you from time to time. Arrowwood Brainerd has seen some really good results by saying thank you, and also just adding a special offer to those loyal guests, what they call bullseye clients. So we sent this email out to our most engaged users and our most loyal customers that way, and we offered them a special deal, and we saw a 30% click-through rate on this email, which was awesome to see, and we definitely plan to incorporate this across many different properties in the future.
Again, just a great reminder that these are people who said, yes, please market to me. So the more love we can give them, the better. So now subject line. So you can have the greatest email content, but if you don't have a good subject line, no one's really going to open it. So the subject line is really important because it's that first step, that first touch point you have with customers when you're sending them something. So we really focus on a lot of A/B testing for our subject line. So what that allows us to do is have two different subject lines that we send option A to 5 or 10% of the email list, option B to 5 to 10% of the email list. And then after a couple hours, we see which one is doing the best. And then we'll send that winning subject line to the remaining 80 to 90% of our subscribers. So it helps ensure that we're getting the best engagement. We're also kind of aggregating all of this data to make sure, where are we seeing trends? Do people want the property name or the city name in? Do we want to talk percentage off? Do we want to say hot deals, limited time offers? We are really continually compiling all that to see what jives the most with our kind of portfolio, and then are just going from there. And this is just a few examples of how much of an impact it can be. These were emails we sent over the past couple weeks of AB subject lines. And you can see the first one, subject line A was 23% and B was almost 8%. So this means that we sent version A to the full list, but we could have, which got us, I think, close to about a 20% open rate list wide. Whereas if we would have just done one subject line and it would have been B, we would have probably gotten 8 to 10%. So we got another 10% of people to engage with us and then hopefully go on to buy. The second one is showing we had a 3% open rate for option A and a 21% for option B. So it shows us how important this is. And we're continually wanting to test and tweak things just to make sure that we're getting you guys the best engagement with your customers. Emails that we can personalize also have a huge increase in open rate. So when we are asking for different room information, we can start maybe incorporating first name. So Kate, here's a special deal for you in the subject line. We also do this with some locations. So we did this last year with Custer State Park, knowing that people know really well which lodge they're staying at and associate that really strongly. So we segmented out the emails to have Bluebell or State Game Lodge or Sylvan in the subject line. And we saw on average, I think about 48% for open rates, which is 26% higher than their average of last year and 19% higher than the industry average. So we're doing really well when we can segment and customize as much as possible. We also want to be playing with emojis, and this is just kind of an overview of the top emojis that are used. And you can see sunshine and travel because it's something that the travel industry has really picked up on. And we have tested emojis with a handful of different properties, and we do see that it's working. So marketers are using it 7,000% over the last year, and you do see an increase in engagement. We didn't see a massive increase, so we're not kind of putting them in everything, but when the right message and the right property kind of align for emoji use, we definitely want to do that. That's something you want to kind of test with, let us know. It's really easy to add them in, and it's kind of fun, just a little extra love for some of our properties too.
Awesome. So Kate touched on earlier that we've been collecting data over the past several years across all of our different properties. And what we've really used that data to do is to figure out what day of the week we want to send emails on to get them to open the most, and what time of day are users most likely to open that email and click over to the website where they can book a room. So here's a breakdown of the hospitality industry versus what we see across Regency properties. So overall, the hotel industry has about a 20% open rate, and Regency sees about a 23% open rate, which is awesome to see. That data that we've been collecting and all the spreadsheets that we've been managing is really paying off, getting that extra 3% boost over the hospitality industry. But we really see some great things is that click-through rate. The overall click-through rate for the hospitality industry is about 2%, and we've been seeing about an 11.2%, so almost a full 9 percentage points over the industry average. And that really speaks to the data we've been collecting when it comes to what time of day we're sending and what day of the week we're sending, as well as some of the design and content optimizations that we've been making over the years. So the average time of day, the best time to send an email has been trending toward the later afternoon, the 4 to 5 to 6 p.m. range. We're catching people when they're getting off of work and they have all their tasks for the day accomplished. So they really can focus on their personal email and going through some retail emails. I know I fall into this demographic where I'm checking my personal email outside of work because I'm busy at work. I don't have time to go through my personal email. So that's when I'm most likely to click to open an email. And it really shows across the whole data set over a company profile.
So this is really what we use when we're recommending open times. We saw this kind of evening skew a lot higher over the summer. So we're going to start toying with some evening and mornings again as people are getting back into the fall and routines to see if it's a seasonality trend, if it's more just larger trend, but know that we are continually testing when is the best time so that we can get in front of our customers when they are going to engage with us.
So the next important email send time is what day of the week do we want to send an email on? So as you can see, Sunday doesn't have any data. We know that the front desks aren't often the most staffed on Sundays. So if we have a call to action to call the front desk to book a room, we don't want to overwhelm the staff that way. But what we really do see is great engagement on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So that early part of the week is usually when we recommend sending emails, and possibly trying a Saturday just to see if that's a good target. So we definitely plan to do more A/B testing with days of the week send times, but just know that we're really doing everything we can to create the most opportunities for our email subscribers to open that email at a time that is desired for them.
If you know anything about ClickGrade, you know we love our spreadsheets and our charts.
Yes. So talking more about that millennial demographic that both Kate and I fall into and that we've seen throughout the presentation as being one of the most engaged email segments. But 70% of millennials check their email from their bed, and I hit the stereotype again. In the morning and at night, I check my email. So this really involves what time of day do we want to send an email at? So I think throughout 2018, we're going to do some more testing that we possibly send some emails at 10 o'clock for those people that are checking their emails before they go to bed, or it's the first thing they open at 6 or 7 a.m. when they wake up.
And I'm sure you guys can see this if you are on a lot of retail lists. You get a lot of emails kind of between 10 and 5 a.m., 10 p.m. and 5 a.m., because they know that as you're laying in bed, you're scrolling, or you're sitting on the couch and you're relaxing after your day. So you're much more likely to maybe make an impulse purchase, but you also might be in more of that dreaming state of like, I do need a vacation. Where can we go? So we want to make sure that we're really aligning whatever our offer is with when people might be sending it. And that also aligns with who's on the database and part of the email list as well, which gets us to database segmentation. So I made acronym for this, always be segmenting, because I think it's something that we always need to be doing. So we've really worked over the last year with properties on different levels to really segment out your email list. So do we know who is leisure and meeting? Do we know who comes in winter and summer? Do we know who might have a family? Are they hunters? Are they here for wine weekend? There's a lot of things that we can do to segment out our email so that when we have a specific offer, a specific promotion, we can be as relevant as possible so we aren't continually sending emails to the whole list that really don't pertain to anyone so that they get annoyed and unsubscribe. But we also want to make sure that we are continuing to build out this database and the segmentation. So what we've started doing, especially on the newer sites we've been doing, is our form signups are starting to have a distinction. So you pick leisure or planner, and we can kind of continue to go from there. When people are checking in, if you can add in things that are relevant, I know that there are a lot of kind of properties we've been talking with that making sure they say, are they here for hunting, so that next year we can start segmenting those hunters out and send them information and offers. How are we integrated with all of our other platforms? And this is something we do great, that we can use the front desk system to really export guests and import that into our email program so that we're really being able to engage with the most recent customer and keep them loyal and keep our properties top of mind. So whenever you have information, let us know, and we'll be glad to kind of segment it out and make sure that we're doing the best with the subscriber data we have. One thing we've also been doing is kind of filtering out our zombie subscribers, kind of what we're calling them. But it's those people who are on our email list, but they haven't opened an email for over a year or more. So we know these people aren't engaged. They aren't opening, they aren't clicking, they're just kind of there. And what those people can do is, one, they cost money. So it doesn't cost a lot to send to an email address, but if you add up all of those half of a pennies over time, it does add up. So we want to make sure we're really only sending to the most effective group as possible, not just wasting dollars. It also can hurt our deliverability. So if you have an email list and it has a deliverability rate of 98%, that is great. And that means that email platforms are going to be less likely to just automatically mark an email as spam. If your deliverability rate is around 85 to 90%, still kind of good, but it's much more likely that the Yahoos and Gmails of the world are going to start flagging any email coming from your account as spam. And so your subscribers won't even get a chance to see it to engage. So that's why keeping our email list clean is so important, so that we're really kind of using all of the best practices so that, again, we're having those most engaged subscribers. The other big reason is the spam issue. These pesky millennials are much more likely to mark email as spam than unsubscribing. So that's why we want to make sure it's easy to unsubscribe from our emails if someone wants to, so that they don't mark them as spam. Because if you get a lot of emails marked as spam, then it hurts the sender reputation. So again, the Yahoos and the Gmails of the world are going to more likely be marking all of the emails you send to all of your subscribers as spam. We definitely don't want that. So all things that we kind of keep in mind and monitor outside of just how the email looks, but how the functionality behind it is happening as well. So email opportunities.
Yes. So for the last 10 years or so, marketers have been predicting that email marketing is dead. It's been around for so long, it's been effective for so long that it just can't sustain this, this awesome results. But we're here to tell you that email marketing is not dead. In fact, email marketing tends to be one of the most preferred ways of communication across the board, across all age demographics. As you can see, 73% of that millennial demographic prefers email as the most preferred method of communication and really blows every other form of communication out of the water. So email marketing is here to stay. But that being said, there's a lot of ways that we can make email marketing more vibrant, more lively, and to really ensure that email marketing continues to be an effective method for us.
And I would say that email isn't dying, but one email to your entire audience is dying. So we need to be making sure that we're segmenting our list. We need to make sure we're using personalization and dynamic content so that, again, it's really what is relevant to each subscriber, because the mass send to a broad base is really starting to die because you're not seeing that engagement, you're not seeing the return from it.
Yes. So coming up, one of the big kind of new things in email marketing is email marketing automation. So this really involves sending users emails based on a series of actions that they may take or follow certain patterns. So can we send a promotional offer to our list when it's their birthday and send them a great deal to come stay with us on their birthday? Or do we know some patterns that certain email users follow that we can send them an email every fall because we know they're going to be around for hunting season, or they're going to be doing business traveling around the first of the year? So in the future, 2018, we're really going to start pushing more marketing automation to keep our email marketing efforts vibrant and living and growing.
And one thing we really want to continue to kind of work with, we've talked to some properties on this, is really integrating with Snixus or Roommaster or whatever the front desk platform is, to really ensure that if someone's coming on Wednesday, how do we maybe send them an email a couple days before and say, here's what the weather's like. Did you know you might want to upgrade your room for a couple extra dollars? Really trying to do more incremental upsells, or just kind of creating and fostering that brand loyalty with each property, which can really kind of come through with just automated pre-stay and post-stay emails. Another fun one is agile emails, and this really kind of pulls into the one base mass marketing emails are dying. Agile emails are really here to help alleviate the need to always have all of the data on all of your subscribers. So what agile emails allow us to do is to show different content to people based on what they are doing moment of open. So when we previously would send dynamic content, we would say, all right, this person has this subscriber attribute in the database, so we're going to create content on that, and then we're going to segment them out, and then we're going to send an email. And that works great. But agile email allows us to say, okay, if someone is in this geography, let's show them this promotion. If they open on this day, then that offer is gone, so let's just change what the content is showing. So it allows us to be a little bit more agile in what we're doing. So this is an example of an email that's gone out. So we have the countdown clock, so every day someone would open it, that would automatically change. And then once the promotion's over, we could just change that content region to say, promotion's over, look back, check our website for different offers. Really starting to engage. You can also pull in their current weather widget. You can pull in what your weather widget is. There are some hotel companies that, depending on if they open on the East Coast or the West Coast, they would show promotions for California or Florida because it'd be more likely for them to travel there. So there's a lot of fun things that we can do with Agile, and are just continually kind of testing the grounds and seeing when and where it would make sense for us to kind of jump into those waters. Another element is interactive emails. So the platform and being able to communicate one-to-one with subscribers is huge. We want to make sure that we're taking advantage of that. So the functionality for email has really been increasing over the last probably 6 to 18 months, and we'll only continue to do that. So we can start integrating emails with our shopping carts or with the kind of booking engine platform. We can add forms, we can add quizzes, we can kind of add accordion features so that we can add more content without overwhelming users. And then we can be adding those rotating banners and animated GIFs to really create a little bit more personalization. So these are just some of the examples on things that we can be doing, and we'll be testing with to see when it makes sense, again, content-wise and technology-wise, because we don't want to be sending something that's awesome like this, but it works for only 5% of our email subscribers. So we want to make sure that the technology our customers are using matches the technology we're trying to send out. But we're dreaming big and keeping our kind of eyes on this radar. So we want to make sure that we're getting started and working with you guys. I just kind of want to remind everyone of the email marketing process, but know that we are always here to help and love to kind of dive into this world with you guys.
Yeah, so the process is fairly simple. You just have to visit clickrain.regencymgt.com, and you can click on the email button, and there'll be a form that you can fill out all the information for your desired email. You can upload a specific email list and photos, and that request comes to us, and we'll be in communication with you and send you a proof in a timely fashion to get that email campaign launched.
Yes, and it's just a reminder, here's your team, whether it's email, social, analytics, search engine optimization, whatever. We just are really wanting to be your digital resource and kind of your partner in everything. So reach out if you have any questions. And now I'm going to see Mason, Maddie, what do we got?
Casey has some awesome questions.
Of course, not surprised.
Let's talk about 360 video, using 360 video as part of emails.
Yes. So it's still hard to embed a video into an email. The technology for different email platforms is getting a lot better, but animated GIFs are still kind of the safest. So what we've seen really cool examples of, and it kind of works with our video team, is we can actually create like a fake 360 video through an animated GIF, which easily downloads into most email platforms, so that we could say, here's a preview of what a 360 looks like, click, and then it gets them to the website where they can either see the full 360 or link them over to YouTube where they can. But it's a great way to increase engagement. I think something that any of the properties who have 360 videos, we should be talking in how to engage with meeting planners in that regard, and then also just to kind of build out with any other properties that would like to.
And then also from Casey, and you can go ahead and repeat this so they hear the question,
yes.
How many segments are ideal when it comes to like a normal list?
Okay, question was, how many segments do we want for a normal list? We'd want to be careful because you don't want to get to the point where you're so segmented that it's almost more work to manage the segments than it is to send the content. It really depends per property. So we for sure are segmenting based on most engaged subscribers and least engaged. We want to make sure we have our leisure transient and our meetings groups. And then really it comes down to the property. We'd want, if you have a really big fall or hunting guest, we want that segmented. Canaan and Deadwood, people are coming out for skiing. So we want to make sure that we have those subscribers segmented out so that we can give them maybe a couple more skiing promotions than maybe the general list. So it really depends on what promotions and what the seasonality and kind of what events each property has. But I'd say we'd probably want at least 5 and then can kind of build out from there where it makes sense. These are good ones. We should do emails more often.
Let's see, we've got one from Lisa.
Maddie's over in this way, so I'm not just randomly staring off.
So we can follow up with Lisa on this one if we're not understanding correctly, but talk a little bit about the interactive email options for groups wanting to use an online reservation form.
Okay. So this is kind of talking through adding in the form functionality into emails. And I would say that functionality isn't really to the point where right now we would want to add that in, because I don't think we would be able to engage with, we'd probably be able to engage with 1 to 2% of our subscriber list, and then everything else would be a default just to send them to the form. So right now I don't think we're at the technology is to the point where we'd want to implement that right away, but we can do either a cool animated GIF or a video or something that would drive them directly to the form on the website, and we can go from there. But Lisa, I think that was Lisa's question, but we can follow up if there's a specific use case that you were thinking of too. Mm-hmm. Any others? Well, thank you guys. Again, Tanner and I are here. Maddie, Mason's here. We just love being able to work with you all. And we will be sending out the winner of the questions and then a recording of the webinar as well. So everyone has that. But thank you all and have a great rest of your Friday.